What's going on, my Jack brother? Coach Scott here. In today's video, we're going to talk about why most people in the gym won't see results and what you can do to keep that progress train rolling. The biggest reason most people get stuck spinning their wheels with little to no results to show for the effort that they're putting in is because they're always overthinking things and overcomplicating the process of losing fat and building muscle. They allow themselves to become overwhelmed and confused with all the conflicting information that's out there, and they end up second guessing themselves and experiencing paralysis by analysis. And if you can relate to this, it's time to get unstuck by applying an experimenter's mindset to the transformation process. Step number one is to have a playful sense of curiosity and intrigue towards a certain diet or weight training approach. Maybe you saw a case study and it piqued your interest and you thought, there could be something to that. I want you to have an open mind with that approach. And then step number two is based on the case studies that you're seeing and what you've read about this approach, what do you hypothesize the outcome will be for you if you follow this approach? Step number three is to set a timeline for this experiment. Are you going to follow this approach for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks? Whatever you decide, commit to it and don't be bouncing around. Don't be second guessing yourself. Follow it through right to the end. Step number four is to document the process. How are you going to measure your progress? Are you going to weigh yourself daily? Are you going to take girth measurements? Are you going to take progress photos of yourself every week? Are you going to track the food that you're consuming? Are you going to record the weight that you lifted, the reps that you performed? Are you going to journal how you felt throughout the daily experiences here? I really love using YouTube as a documentary piece myself, on a weekly basis, just kind of going over my thoughts and my experiences and sharing what I liked from the process and what I haven't enjoyed from the process, how it's all impacting me in all aspects of my life. Step number five is to analyze the data, and step number six is to arrive at a conclusion. Was this approach effective for you? And then in the end here, you're going to keep what worked for you and discard what didn't. That's the experiment. And really, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it worked for one person, didn't work for another. There is just countless approaches out there for diet and for training that have worked for some people, haven't worked for others. They're gonna be raving fans for some. They love this approach, and other people that was a garbage approach that didn't work for me. What matters most is, did it work for you? Detach emotion from the experience. Don't tie your emotions to someone else's experience. It's what was your experience? Did you apply this approach to the best of your abilities, and did it work for you? What's even more important is that if it didn't work for you, it's okay. You learned from the experience. You learned that this approach doesn't suit you best, and you probably did take away some positives from the experience. There were some things that you may have enjoyed from it that you can apply in future approaches. And now you get to get excited about, hey, I'm gonna try a different approach and see how my body responds to that. See if it suits my lifestyle, my personal preferences better than this past approach. Now let me share some of my personal experiences experimenting with different diet and training approaches over the years. I think a great example is intermittent fasting. That was an approach I was very resistant to at first, and maybe not quite open-minded to in the beginning, mainly because I am a big breakfast person. Ever since as a little kid, I would jump out of bed and immediately eat breakfast. And I was a little bit nervous about delaying my breakfast till later in the morning or earlier in the afternoon. I was worried I was gonna pass out because I had been known to pass out. I passed out in grade 9 phys ed class because I didn't eat breakfast. I passed out in church one day because I didn't eat breakfast. I'm like, this is, it was a legitimate concern of mine. But once I decided to commit to this experiment, hearing everyone raving about it, seeing all these different case studies, and I just want to know, for my own personal information, and experiences, so I could kind of pass it on to my clients, or at least relate to some of my clients who really resonate with the intermittent fasting approach. I thought, I'm going to give it a shot, see how it goes. So the first approach I followed, I think the book was called Cheat Your Way Thin or something like that. The fourth day, you had a cheat day where you absolutely freaking pigged out, unlimited food, eat whatever you want. And then because you're gonna feel so full and stuffed, the next day is a fasting day where you completely fast for 24 hours. I think I did that for 5 to 6 weeks that first time. Did it, and really it didn't speed up the fat loss process at all, more than how my traditional way of eating, consuming calories. And I really found that it triggered some behaviors in me that I didn't like. I didn't like that whole binge and just stuff myself silly. Then it almost felt like punishment to fast the following day. So it didn't, I did it. It got similar results to what I would experience with any other diet. but it didn't suit me best. It didn't resonate best with me. So I followed another intermittent fasting approach, Eat, Stop, Eat, Brad Pilon. He's got a couple different approaches, I think, and one of his approaches was like a 24-hour fast, whether it's once a week or twice a week. Again, similar results when total calories are the same at the end of the week as compared to not having fasting in there. And then just got to the approach of like 16-hour fast, 8-hour window of eating, which I think I kind of was kind of close to. I think naturally I'm around like a 9 to 10-hour eating window. So is it magic to only reduce it to 8 hours instead of a 9 or 10-hour eating window? I don't think there's any magic to that at all. But again, like for some people, it's having a smaller window of eating, it helps them control their appetite better. It helps them control their calorie intake better. For myself personally, like that was, for an intermittent fasting approach, the 8-hour window, 16-hour fast, like that is manageable. That is doable. And that wasn't all that far off from my normal eating lifestyle. So that was an intermittent fasting approach that somewhat resonated with me. Basically, how I eat today is a combination of all the different diet approaches that I've followed over the years. I've learned something from every single one of them. I've learned what I like about them. I learned what I don't like about them. I keep in what has worked for me, and I discard what hasn't worked for me. And then there's weight training, where people are absolutely freaking crushing it with a variety of approaches. And sometimes I sit back and wonder, like, are we truly any further ahead with all this new muscle building research coming out than we were decades ago when all we had was bro science? It does kind of crack me up whenever I hear a desk jockey typing away in the comment section that Steve Reeves or Arnold Schwarzenegger what they did was wrong, and they'll share a study where it was like 10 senior citizens who have never touched a weight in their life did some leg extension things, and that was the best form of training frequency or volume or whatever. That's what we should be doing instead of what the heck those guys doing. And they'll throw the whole performance enhancing drug thing, and they're like just a bunch of ridiculousness. There's times where I miss the days of just being a bro, picking up a magazine, going, that workout plan looks kind of cool. Let's give it a try. And that's the approach I still like to take today. Now, I may see a research paper that intrigues me, something like blood flow restriction training. I'm like, I'm curious about this. Let's give it a shot, see how my body responds. Or maybe I just may see one of my fellow bros performing an exercise a little differently than how I perform it. I'm like, curious and want to get playful with that movement, see how my body responds, include it in my next workout plan, see how my body progresses with it, and then go from there. It blows my mind when I see these debates among really smart freaking coaches on the internet. Like, doing a machine fly with your elbows bent is the best way, and someone else comes out, oh no, we're with the muscle fibers lined up and this and that, and whatever, you gotta have your arms straight and all. I'm like, Jesus freaking Christ, dude, like, just perform the exercise, have fun. Does it feel good to you? And some people are, it's not about feel, it's about the muscle. Whatever, like, just it blows my mind how they can waste so much time arguing back and forth. They both have a great case to each other. Just do the freaking exercise and have some fun. Do what feels good to your body. What allows your body to progress in a certain way. But even like different training splits, like if I see a certain training split I've not seen before, I'm like, I'm curious about that. I'm going to give that a shot myself. And I've really become, I just kind of break the mold with a lot of my training splits. I like to create a lot of different hybrid approaches to the training splits that I follow, and just kind of break the norm and just see, again, it's all about having fun. It's about keeping your enthusiasm sky high and just experimenting and see how your body responds to it. Other experiments I've done with weight training is manipulating training volume. I used to be a high volume junkie, everything high volume all the freaking time. And now I'm manipulating my training volume, having some low volume training phases. And the first time I ever went through that, I'm like, oh my God, my body feels fully recovered. The fatigue has dissipated and the muscles resensitized to the training stimulus. So once I started bumping that volume back up again, I'm like, wow, I'm experiencing progress once again. Whereas when you kept the volume crazy high all the time, everything kind of plateaued. It was tough to make progress there. And as of late, I've done some experiments with the number of days I train per week. Now, back in the day, all I did was about 5 days per week. And then for the longest time, I bumped it up to 6 days per week. And for the past few years, I've dropped it down to 5 days per week. I really like having my weekends off to do other activities. And then I just started reading more articles from fellow coaches who anecdotally come to the conclusion that most guys over 40 tend to respond best to 4 training days per week. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. So there was 4 months recently where I dedicated to training just 4 days per week, and it felt fantastic. It gave me a little more time to do other activities throughout the week. But after 4 months, I was realizing, you know what? I really do miss that fifth day of weight training. It kind of opens the door for me to spread out my training volume a little bit different, get a little bit more creative with training splits, and I just really do love being in the gym and the camaraderie with my fellow bros. So I've now been back to 5 days per week because it suits me best personally. So it was a fun experiment, and it's a fun experience. I really enjoyed it, learned a lot from it, and then I carried on. And also at that time, I was following some other coaches who were like, I've always, for the longest time, been taking a last set, best set approach where first set, I'll leave like 2 to 3 reps in the tank. Second set, 1 to 2 reps in the tank. And then the third set is all out last set, best set effort, where I leave absolutely nothing on the gym floor at all. So that's been my approach. But this particular coach who's like, the first 2 sets are basically warm-ups, and it's just 1 set of all out freaking effort. So those first 2 sets are like way away from failure. It's only 1 set to momentary muscular failure, and it is like an all-out effort. So I tried that approach, and I really, really like that approach, and it worked great. I learned a lot from it, but right now I'm going to do another little experiment where it's like 3 sets of all-out freaking effort. Now, with the difference with this approach is that you can't do as many exercises. You can't do as many sets because most of your sets, all your sets are to momentary muscular failure. You're crushing it, but I'm really enjoying this experience so far. My workouts are quicker. I'm getting in and out, just giving it my all, and I'm loving it so far. So I'm early in this experiment, so look forward to reporting back on my progress as time goes on here. So the take-home message is that yes, there is a huge variety of approaches that you can take to either lose fat or build muscle when it comes to diet and weight training. The key for you is to not allow yourself to get overwhelmed by all the options that are out there. Pick one that resonates with you, decide how long you're going to follow that approach for, give it your absolute best effort, learn from the experience, keep what you like, discard what you don't, move on to the next experiment and repeat that process. Have fun with it. Don't overthink it all. It's an opportunity for you to try something new, try something different, see if it works for you. Move on. I hope you enjoyed this video and found value in it. If you did, please do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. If you know a fellow bro who would benefit from watching today's video, please do me a favor and share it with them. More than anything, I'd love to hear from you down in the comment section below. Share your thoughts, share your insights, share your feedback. Can you relate to those feelings of being overwhelmed and confused and overthinking the process of losing fat and building muscle? Share your experiences with me. Let me know if this experimenter's mindset is resonating with you as well and how you're going to apply it to your transformation process. Before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40. Have yourself an amazing day. Catch you next video.